Good morning. This is the last show of the year, and it's been quite an interesting holiday season. As most of you have realized from my shows, I am not a fan of Christmas and the holiday season, not because of Christmas, but because of what it has become. And you all know it, you've all seen it change over the years. You know, it's interesting to me that Christmas is Jesus's birthday, the birthday of Christ. And yet you see people all over in the retail stores, they are not allowed to say Merry Christmas because they might offend somebody who has thousands of dollars worth of gifts for their children who happens to not believe in Jesus Christ, who doesn't believe in the whole reason for the holiday. Taking the Christ out of Christmas basically means that you don't believe in the holiday. It's kind of like the Grand Wizard of the KKK buying his kids gifts on Martin Luther King Jr.'s birthday. You probably don't see that happening. I don't celebrate Hanukkah because I'm not Jewish. But I have been to some of the best Christmas parties at a Jewish person's house. Kind of confusing, isn't it? You see my utter, bizarro world here. You know, it's interesting, you get an invitation, it's like, oh, the Rosensteins are having their annual Christmas party, and they have the best shrimp. They serve the best shrimp. It's like, well, wait a minute. They're having a Christmas party, they're Jewish, and they're serving shellfish? Stop the madness, I'm confused. One gets confused. One gets confused when people who say they don't believe in Jesus Christ, they're not Christians, and yet they buy their kids thousands of dollars worth of gifts. They put lights all over their houses that take out the power grid, a la Sparky Griswold from National Lampoon's Christmas Vacation. It's confusing. This season has become a time when most of us, almost all of us really, if you admit it, we actually commit at least 4 of the 7 deadly sins: gluttony, greed, pride, and envy. Was that what Christmas is really supposed to be about? I thought Christmas was supposed to be about peace, goodwill, and celebrating the birth of a child thousands of years ago. And yet, for some reason, it has become the children in our lives' birthday. They get the gifts. Jesus barely gets a mention. Now, whatever religion you practice, that's fine. But if you only celebrate Christmas for the gifts and the trees and the lights and the parties and the food, are you really celebrating Christmas? Or are you just celebrating? It's a problem. It's a problem that I have. It's a conundrum. And I don't get it. And I guess maybe I never will. But at the beginning of this season, I asked you all to share with me your holiday horror stories. And boy, I got several messages and several emails, and they all seem to have a few common themes. A lot of them had to do with gifts and the obligation to buy gifts. And I'm going to just tell you all my golden rule. My golden rule is fool me once, shame on you. Fool me twice or 3 times or 4 times or 5 or 6 or 20 years, shame on me. And shame on any of you. Look, I got so many letters from people saying, I have to do this. I have to get these gifts shipped. I have to make this many cookies. I have to. Right there is your problem. If you have to, and you're not enjoying it, you're not doing it because you want to, only you can put a stop to it. I had a letter from a friend of mine, actually, who says that she ships gifts to cousins and nephews and nieces, and her daughter does not get gifts from these people. And it annoys her. And I'm like, well, then just stop sending them gifts. If you're buying their children gifts and they buy your child nothing, they're sending you a subliminal message, and you need to read it and understand it. Just stop doing it. I've also gotten letters from people who had the same problem I had, exchanging money, equal amounts of money, which means everybody breaks even, but nobody actually gets a gift. So here's your envelope, there's $100 in there. Here's your envelope, there's $100 in there. What is the point? It's such a waste. Everybody just keep your $100 and just say Merry Christmas and send a card. No big deal. I did that with my family when I realized that with my family, my individual family, we were exchanging money. I would get them $25 gift card to this restaurant. They'd get me $25 gift card to this restaurant. It's like, why don't we just all go out to the restaurant for dinner together and enjoy a nice evening and pay our own way? And they were thrilled when I said, we're just exchanging money. Let's just stop. My husband, on the other hand, he still feels obligations. And, I've tried to talk to him about it. He's getting annoyed that many times his generosity is not reciprocated. But he knows it's not going to be reciprocated because it hasn't been for 15 years. So I tell him the same thing I tell you, my viewers. Fool me once, shame on you. Fool me for 15 years, shame on yourself, baby. You have to make a decision. I know it is very sad that I can actually say, and I'm not ashamed of saying this because it's the truth, that my husband's business that he works for is more generous with us at Christmas time than our own blood family members, except for my mother, who was excruciatingly overly generous to both my husband and myself before she died. And I think that should send a message. We're scaling back. You don't owe somebody a gift if they don't have the time to even give you something small or even send a proper thank you. So that's how I feel about that. And it is a shame. It is a shame, but it shouldn't be about gifts. It shouldn't be about spoiling children who don't even know why they're getting gifts. Ooh, Santa brought it. Well, why does Santa bring gifts? And more educated people, of course, do know that Jesus Christ was not born on December 25th, not by the calendar that we recognize today. It was different back then. Jesus was actually born sometime in March. And I think I have a pastor that's going to be watching this show today that will back me up on that. But this is when we are supposed to celebrate the birth of Christ. And I'm wondering what he's up there thinking. Really? It's my birthday, but everybody else gets gifts and people go into debt and they fight with one another. I'll tell you what I actually do like, the Festivus. Remember from Seinfeld, if you watch Seinfeld, Festivus for the rest of us, you put up the Festivus poll, and at the Festivus dinner table, you air your grievances for the whole year. And you did this, and you did that, and I'm pissed at you for that. And then at the end, you just sit down and have a meal, and all is forgiven. And you start with a clean slate. I kind of like that. Wonder how that would work out for some families. Just air your grievances. Just yell at Uncle so-and-so for this, or yell at Aunt this for that, or Grandma for that. Look, there is no shame in not being able to afford Christmas gifts. But it is shameful if you accept Christmas gifts from other people and you don't let them know that you can't afford to reciprocate. They say that it is better to give than to receive. Well, not always. As many of the letters I got from all of you stipulate, you kind of have this little thing down in the pit of your stomach that says, you know what? I'm tired of buying presents, wrapping presents, shipping presents, and getting shit back, getting nothing back. In fact, some people don't even get a thank you or a proper thank you. Some people actually have told me they have to call people, especially if they send money in a card. Some people still, especially older people, send cash money. And I had a letter from one woman that said, I feel so terrible, but I have to call because a week or two after I send the money, I get nothing. I have to call to say, did you get the card? Because I hope it wasn't lost in the mail. Oh, yeah, we got it. Just didn't bother to call and thank you for it or send you a thank you note. That's rude. That is really rude. And it's a shame. There is light at the end of my tunnel. In 11 days, which hopefully will go fast, I will get my Hallmark Mystery Channel back, which was taken over by A Mommy for Christmas, A Daddy for Christmas, The Town That Saved Christmas, An Angel Comes Down for Christmas, 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 Christmas. Food Network will come back and stop cooking gingerbread houses and cookies and candy canes and all that kind of crap, and they'll start cooking real food again. We won't be seeing all these perfect Christmas families on commercials where everything goes so well and everybody loves each other and gets the perfect gift and mom gets a 7-carat diamond and daughter gets a car with a big bow on it. You know, that shit doesn't happen, right? It doesn't happen in real life, but you know, we have to watch it ad nauseum from November 1st till January 2nd. So I can't wait for January 2nd. The kids will be back in school where they belong. The commercials will go away, and then we'll have to wait for Valentine's Day, which that's not that bad. It's just ridiculous. It's ridiculous that we are inundated 24/7 with a holiday that is supposed to be about the most humblest of people. A baby born in a manger to a carpenter and a very young girl that had no money, no Nintendo or Xboxes or flat screen TVs in every room. A boy that was born and grew up to say, I don't charge anybody for anything. He lived among the poor and he was poor. And he wasn't ashamed of that. And I think it's so amazingly ironic that this holiday that is supposed to celebrate this baby being born who grew up so humble, poor, is now all about how much can you spend? What's your credit limit on your charge card? How many gifts can you fit under your Christmas tree? I'm sorry, your holiday tree. And how many of your children actually even know why there is a tree? Why they have 10 days off school? Why it seems like it's their birthday times 10,000 because they have all these gifts to open simply for existing. Do you know any kids who really get a lump of coal in their stocking? Even the worst behaved kids, do you know any of them that say, you were on the naughty list, no gifts for you? Do you know any kids like that? Probably not. It seems sometimes the worst behaved children are the most spoiled and get the most crap. And of course, you can't send your kids back to school on January 2nd and they didn't get the new Nintendo NES or whatever the hell it's called, or they didn't get the right sneakers, or they didn't get this. You got to keep up with the Joneses. When perhaps you should have been keeping up with what was happening in Nazareth, in Bethlehem, 3,000 years ago. Anyway, I promised a big announcement of the winner, and I have a prop for my winner. It's not really a prize, but it's a good idea. The winner of my worst Christmas experience shared with me ever, and this tops anything that I have ever dealt with over the holiday season, was the wonderful, lovely viewer who said, living on a fixed income, she is forced to buy 10 gifts, not for her children, not for her grandchildren, but for her great nieces and great nephews. And this was the lovely viewer who also shared that she is asked to bring a dish to share to the Christmas Day events. So she sits there for hours watching all the other people open gifts because the children buy gifts for their parents. So she's the only adult in the room that does not get to open a gift. But she doesn't leave empty-handed. Remember this story? Remember this letter? Oh, God, I love this person so much. The hostess gives her her casserole dish unwashed as she's leaving. Happy New Year. So, that is my winner. That tops, I think, anybody's worst nightmare. You go to spend Christmas Day with your family. You buy 10 kids that aren't yours and not even that closely related to you gifts. You bring a dish that you cooked to share. You spend hours watching these kids and their parents open gifts, and you're just sitting there. Yeah, okay, yeah, no gift for me. And you leave with a dirty casserole dish. Wow, that's a good one. So I'm going to leave you with this advice, my dear friend. This is my gift to you, and they're cheap. They come in 3s, by the way. This is the only one I have left. This is what I want you to take your dish to share to your family Christmas party this year. It even comes with a lid. And if your bitch hostess tries to give it back to you dirty, you tell her you keep it. And by the way, shove it up your ass, you stupid, ignorant, stingy woman. Merry Christmas, my friend. I think it's a great idea. And to end on a really good note, one of the reasons I still have hair on my head and I am not in the loony bin, because this season just drives me nuts. Have to do this, have to do that, blah, 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 blah. I don't participate, but hearing other people telling me what they have to do and what they're doing, it makes me crazy. But I had all of you. I was so lucky. You, all of my viewers and people who support this show, you are my Christmas gift. And you're not just a gift that shows up in December. You don't just talk to me in December because you're expecting a gift or a check from me, like some people do. You're with me all the time. And you're with me in my heart as well as on these pages. And I want to thank each and every one of you, because coming on here every day and talking to you and hearing your stories and getting your comments and getting to know all of you just a little bit better every single day that we spend together, well, that's a gift that can't be wrapped or put a bow on or shiny, and it can't. But it's a gift that keeps on giving to me every single day. And I love you all very much, and I wish you all a safe, wherever you're going, be safe. Look out for trains and planes and automobiles. Be safe. Be kind to one another. And please, if you can, spend Christmas the way you want to. Teach your children the values that you want them to learn about this blessed season. Don't be a hypocrite. Teach your children the true meaning of Christmas. And if you don't celebrate Christmas, teach them the true meaning of peace on earth and goodwill toward their fellow man. Because those two lessons, They're not a religious thing. They're a human thing. So be safe. I love you all. Merry Christmas, Happy Kwanzaa, Happy belated Hanukkah, and a very happy New Year. I will see all of you back here next year on January 2nd. Love shows and grows. Political Paula, out.